Hey everybody, you might be asking yourself, where have I been this whole time? I haven't uploaded in almost 2 weeks. That's true. Maybe you actually haven't probably been asking that at all because there's more important things in life than my YouTube channel. But I am back for a Robin Hobb book tag by my buddy Angela at Literature Science Alliance. She actually tagged me many moons ago, and I am just now doing it. Got a lot to catch up on, but let's answer some questions. So this tag was an original tag created by Miss Richards Reads. That channel will be linked down below as well. And basically it's taking characters and or themes from Robin Hobb's Realm of the Elderlings and using them as a prompt to ask you questions. So up first we have the skill, your favorite magic ability. So magic ability is probably a little bit harder to ask than like a magic system. Because for example, like Stormlight is really freaking cool. It does a lot of things. Sticking with Brandon Sanderson, Allomancy is super awesome and does a lot of things. So a single ability though within a magic system, that is my favorite. Okay, so I'm gonna go to just favorite magic ability just because it's really interesting in what it does to the story when it happens and how impactful it can be for both characters involved is soul gazing from the Dresden Files. Because anytime Harry or another wizard soul gazes someone, they both get locked into this like you're seeing each other's true selves and feeling all their emotions, and you're getting this deep, perspective of who they are, and you're kind of bearing your own soul, and it can lead to a lot of terrible things happening, and it can also lead to a lot of good. So that ability is just really, really intriguing, and there's a ton that you can do with it, and it's used so wonderfully throughout the series to give you information about other characters, to see people's final moments before they die. Just so much can happen with soul gazing. I love it. All right, Fitz, a book that made you cry. So ordinarily, I don't full-on cry reading anything. I have teared up and I've gotten emotional about books before. It's just some that come to mind. The end of Morningstar, book 3 of Red Rising, which I mentioned in another tag before that has the same kind of prompt. Just something that happens at the end there really made me tear up. Both, I think, Assassin's Apprentice and Royal Assassin especially made me borderline cry. Like I definitely teared up and got pretty emotional during some of those scenes. Robin Hobb, I know I'm using a Robin Hobb book for a Robin Hobb tag. Is that like not allowed? If it's not allowed, then I'll just stick with Red Rising. But I know some Realm of the Elderlings Farseer books did make me tear up a little bit. What else made me cry? Oh, back to the Dresden Files. There are some moments throughout that series that made me tear up, and I got real mad at one in Battleground. And if you guys know me, you know what I'm talking about. I still hate it. Fool, friendship or friend group? So I assume this is just like your favorite friendship or friend group. I'm gonna answer both. So one of my favorite friendships, again, going to Red Rising. I don't know if this is just fantasy strict or not, or if I can use some sci-fi. I'm gonna do it because I make the rules here. Darrow and Severo in Red Rising, love their friendship. And just the insanity of Severo and Darrow, in his own right. I love their friendship. They're always going to bat for each other, ride or die with each other. Even when, if Darrow's captive or, he's away for a long time, like Severo is his boy, they're always going to be there for one another. I need book 6. If I'm also going to do a friend group, that will be Kesk, Brasty, and Falkio from Trader's Blade and beyond. So the entire Greatcoats quartet of books. That friendship dynamic between those 3 gentlemen is a 10 out of 10 for me. I have certain problems with some of the books, but their friendship is great. Super witty, lots of comedy. They really do feel like they're friends and that they've been around each other for a long time, and they just feed off of each other, and it really helps the dialogue and the scenes flow because you believe that they're friends, and it's fantastic. Okay, Althea, favorite protagonist. Ooh, that's a tough one. Right off the top of the bat, what? What am I even saying anymore? All right, off the top of my head, Harry Dresden always comes to mind because I absolutely love him as a protagonist. He's incredibly flawed. He gets the shit beaten out of him constantly. He takes a lot of losses throughout the story of the Dresden Files. He loses a ton of people around him. He constantly thinks with the wrong head. He makes decisions on a whim. He constantly emotionally reacts to things, and he'll frequently do things to put everybody else in harm's way because he's trying to accomplish something. And it really makes him a believable character because he is certainly not without flaw. He makes a ton of mistakes, and it usually is pretty costly. But he's also just funny. He's witty. He also really cares about the people around him, his friends, his family. He's just a great protagonist to follow in general. Ophelia, favorite sassy character or funny book? So, my favorite sassy character right now, Avasarala comes to mind in The Expanse because she just talks so much shit and has no time for anybody else's shit. It's great. As far as a book is concerned, probably Guards comes to mind just because it's incredibly funny to me. Nonstop humor. And it's not just like slapstick humor or in your face. Like, there's so much subtlety and smart humor in those books that I actually laugh out loud reading Pratchett's humor. I love his style. I would also say We Are Legion, We Are Bob. So book 1 of the Bobiverse, hilarious. Just hilarious. All right, 6 Duchies, my favorite magical world or setting. That's an interesting one because it kind of depends on, I guess, what you're looking for, how much it plays into the story, what makes it unique. I think, obviously, a classic one is Middle-earth. Lord of the Rings is fantastic. I love the world of Dune, of course, because Dune's awesome. Westeros and Essos in A Song of Ice and Fire are so well realized and planned out and mapped out. I absolutely love that. I love the Banished Lands, not necessarily for like the topography of it, but just how incorporated the lore and the gods and everything was into the world itself. Like, I love the world of the Wheel of Time for what it is. This question, I don't know, like, honestly, one of the more interesting ones, just to overuse it, is the Dresden Files, because you have a modern-day Chicago, but you also have so many other, like, intertwining worlds and/or dimensions, in a way, of these, fantastical, magical creatures that humanity doesn't always see. But you have the Never Never, you have like the world of the Fae, you have all these different things going on in these places that, Harry and other magical beings can enter in and out of. And it's such a cool concept. All right, Nighteyes, favorite animal companion. Well, if I can't, I would say Nighteyes. I don't know if this is like the anything but Hobb book tag, is just the same thing. If I can't say Nighteyes, because the answer would be Nighteyes, I would have to say Storm from Faithful and the Fallen, or Ghost, of course, from A Song of Ice and Fire, because they're all fantastic. Nighteyes really is just the best animal companion that I've ever read about, though. So there's that. Brashen, favorite love interest. I don't read books for their love interest. A lot of fantasy books, especially, fail incredibly hard when I read them as far as making a believable love interest or relationship in general. I'm going to jump back to I really love a certain... Is it even a spoiler? I guess it is. Red Rising does a very, very good one that I like. There are some in Wheel of Time that make some sense and are pretty good. There are a lot that are terrible. I would say Mistborn has a really good one. And Dresden, for a while, had a very good one. Jim Butcher. All right, Kyle, favorite villain. That's a tough one because a lot of villains are mustache twirly and terrible and not believable and have no intriguing backgrounds or anything. So favorite villain, again, I seem to just like not be picking a single person here. Song of Ice and Fire, if you've ever read it, just the Lannisters in general are fantastically written and well done. Tywin Lannister is an absolute bastard and so cunning and witty and can be evil and is great. And what I like about Song of Ice and Fire is most people are terrible, sort of like First Law, where they're all kind of bastards in a way, except for the Starks, who are just trapped in the wrong story. And there's a lot of gray area to how good or bad these people are. There are some, standout bad ones, but just the Lannisters are a great sort of villainous family that will do anything to stay in power. From, the petulant little shit Joffrey to Cersei, who is just far more intelligent, but just as evil. And then Tywin, who is incredibly smart and ambitious and doesn't necessarily strike you as an outright villain at times, but I mean, their whole family is kind of terrible people. Of course, you got like Nicodemus in Dresden Files, one of the better villains. He shows up roughly every 3 books, it seems, and he's always one of the more powerful beings in that world that you have to fight against. He has an interesting character to him, and his dialogue is always great. He isn't just there to kill people for the sake of killing people. He's always after something, and him and Harry have a lot of great, dialogue and dynamics with each other. So Nicodemus, whenever he's in a book, is great. And then, of course, there's always some that are just you love to hate. Like reading Faithful and the Fallen, Jael, Lycos, Nether. Like there's a wide spectrum of villains in those books, all the way from somebody who is just kind of doing the wrong things because they think it's right, but they turn into a villain, or just straight up like the devil kind of villain. So there are some great, really, really fun to read villains in those books. And then I would say, and then there's also one in Stormlight now that I'm not going to say the name because I honestly can't remember when characters have been introduced. It's been a while, and who becomes a villain when. The first name starts with a T. That's all I'm going to say. It's pretty good. Kennit, character or book you love to hate. So I'm just going to go straight for the jugular with this one. Ender's Game. I love shitting on Ender's Game. It is so fun because I did not like that book, and it's overrated as shit. People think it's the best sci-fi ever. It's not. I'm sorry. That mantle goes to Dune. Ender's Game can suck it. Vivacia, favorite character that is a sentient object. Well, that's a doozy. What have I read that has a sentient object? I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is Bob the skull. But he's not really a skull. He's not a skull. He's just in a skull. So that doesn't even work, does it? Have I read anything that has a sentient object? There probably are that I'm just not remembering. I don't know. I'd have to spend like 45 minutes of research trying to figure out if I've read about a sentient object. I'm sure someone in the comments down below will let me know if I have read something that has a sentient object that I'm just an idiot and I'm forgetting about. But there it is. That be the Robin Hobb book tag. So thank you again, Angela, for tagging me. Again, original video and Angela's will be linked in the description down below. I am trying to get back in the flow of things of getting to more videos. So this is the start. And happy Thanksgiving to you all. That's this week. If you notice, my setup's a little bit different because my wife insisted that we decorate for Christmas a month and a half early. And now we have a Christmas tree in my office. So there it is. Bye.